Lucifer is female. Check this out. Inanna and On. This is an ancient Mesopotamian tablet that was translated via Oxford University. I'm going to leave links in the video description box so you can read this yourself. And there are hundreds of tablets that are translated on this website. I read this about a year and a half or so ago, did a podcast on it, and now I am going to give a completely different interpretation based upon the information and knowledge that I have gained since that time. When reading through this now and comparing it to Velikovsky's work, Velikovsky, I'm reading through the chapters of Venus and how Venus is actually what caused a near extinction level event for humanity about 3,600 years ago. It's interesting because some people did a translation on tablets, like Zacharias Sitchin as an example, and he feels that these cataclysms are caused by Nibiru. Marduk is a god that's associated with Nibiru. Also, Anu, with the Sumerian pantheon, after Tiamat explodes, when it gets into a battle with Marduk, Anu is the father god of this solar system. Now, if you look at these stories that are translated, and if you read through Zacharias Sitchin's books, there's a lot of comparisons, but there's also a lot of differences. When I read through Velikovsky, once again, when I read through this earlier today, this book, Worlds in Collision, I was agreeing with most of what he was saying until I got to the chapter that talked about how Venus wasn't discussed, or not Venus, but how other planets weren't discussed thousands of years ago, but just four main gods. Just four main gods. And Uranus isn't in that pantheon. So when you read through these Sumerian tablets, you can actually connect Anu to Uranus, Enki to Neptune, Enlil to Jupiter, Shamash or Utu to the sun, Sin to the moon. The name of the moon deity is Sin. And some people have thought that maybe that word was more of like artificial in sense, and the moon is artificial as it came in here. Obviously, that is very controversial, and I'm agnostic to that as well. I think that it could be. If you look at the evidence, if you look at the data, like the giant maskins on the back of the moon, if you look at all the titanium alloy that they brought back, and how these crater blast sites are all about the same depth, even though it looks like some of them were hit a lot harder, the way that it rings like a bell after something hits it, it's ding. It's hollow inside. So anyway, with that being said, this book right here, Worlds in Collision, I still feel Velikovsky does an excellent job describing some of these ancient religions and storylines with Venus. And also, let me read this to you. This is chapter 8, I'm just going to quick excerpt, the 52-year period. So there's a gentleman by the name of Fernando de Alva. He was a Mexican scholar, 1568 to 1648, and he could read old Mexican texts. He was able to preserve the traditions of the ancients. And the ancients, according to him, had a multiple 52-year period that was played out, had a very important role in the reoccurrence of world catastrophes. And there were two of them that caused a global change, causing a world age. Then, if you look at the Israelites, they wandered the desert for 40 years. And if you add to that, the Israelites left the desert and started the difficult task of the conquest. And at the time, the battle at Beth Horon, 12 years may have passed. So you would get 52 that way. Now, with that being said, there's also a remarkable fact, according to this excerpt. The natives of pre-Columbian Mexico expected a new catastrophe at the end of every 52-year period. So they would wait for the event on the night of the ceremony, and people were freaking out. They were scared. They were waiting for this giant god or goddess in the heavens to come wipe them out. They were afraid of the end of humanity. and that the darkness at night would actually become permanent, because the ancients talked about a time when the sun didn't set. Now, as they waited for the appearance of planet Venus, Lucifer, when nothing happened, well, then guess what? The Maya people would rejoice. They brought human sacrifices, offering the hearts of prisoners. They would actually open their chests with knives of flint. Knives of flint. Man, this thing is amazing. Look at this. 17 minutes and 46 seconds now. I've got it at 7,720 hertz, working on my lower back. It feels incredible. I can't say enough good things about this. You should check it out. Donat's Pain Relief Store. Coach K is even offering discounts for Leak Project listeners. He's offering specials for Leak Project listeners. Click the link directly. It's amazing. So anyway, I'm just saying. You can also use it for like headaches and all sorts of different opportunities. I sent one to my mom. She loves it. So let me share this with you though. Let me go back to this. Jubilee. Jubilee, was there any special reason why fear returned every 50 years? The Jubilee tradition. Okay, here we go. The Jubilee of the Mayas must have had a genesis similar to that of the Jubilee of the Israelites. The difference lies in the human character of the festival of the Jews and its inhuman character among the Mayas. But with both people, it was a year of atonement, repeating itself every 50th year in the one case and every 52 years in the other. Comets do not return at exact periods. The Mayas expected the return of a catastrophe every 52 years. That was the interval between two cataclysms that had taken place when Venus came back. However, with that said, the comet was actually seen again. Okay, so it may be that the comet was actually seen again at such intervals. The Jews fasted and prepared themselves for the day of judgment on the earliest possible date of its return. The Mayas had their festival within the dreaded time, when the dreaded time had passed without harm. On the Day of Atonement, the Israelites used to send a scapegoat to Azazel, or Azazel. They would do that in the desert. They did that as a ceremony, a propitiation of Satan. Gosh, I can't read worth a crap. My apologies. This is like, I mean, look at this little writing here. It's insane. I even highlighted it all. I got to get some glasses or something. This is ridiculous. My apologies. Thank you for staying with me. So, with that said, on the Day of Atonement, okay, just read that. In Egypt, the goat was an animal dedicated to Seth Typhoon. Azazel was a fallen star, or Lucifer. It was also called Azazel, Azza, or Uzzah, according to the rabbinical legend. Did I say that right? Uzzah was the star angel of Egypt. It was thrown into the Red Sea when the Israelites made their passage. The Arab name of the planet Venus is Al-Uzzah. Arabs used to bring human sacrifices to Al-Uzzah. Muhammad, too, in his early days, worshipped it, and even today, the Arabs seek its help. That's page 165 and 166. Velikovsky, Worlds in Collision. Then it goes on to talk about the birth of Venus, the blazing star. And then this is where I stopped and I said, I don't agree with this part. The four-planet system. I mean, I agree with some of it. I just think he was missing information when he put this together. And first of all, this is exceptional work. Absolutely exceptional. But when he goes on to say the four-planet system, by asserting that the planet Venus was born in the first half of the second millennium, I assume also that in the third millennium, only 4 planets could have been seen. In astronomical charts of this early period, the planet Venus cannot be found. Ancient Hindu tables of planets attributed to the year 3102, Venus alone among the visible planets is absent. The Brahmas, the early period, did not know the 5-planet system. Only in later, middle period, did the Brahmas speak of 5 planets. Now, this is where it says here, Babylonian astronomy, too, had a 4-planet system. Ancient prayers to the planets Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and Mercury are invoked. The planet Venus is missing. And one speaks of the 4-planet system of the ancient astronomers of Babylonia. So, what about Anu? What about Enki? What about Enlil? What about Utu? Well, Utu is the sun. Utu is the representation of the sun. Enlil would be Jupiter. Zeus is Jupiter. I think Saturn might actually be Shamash. However, Shamash, the name Utu went to Shamash, and that is connected to the sun. But if there was a cataclysm that Venus caused, where it like ripped the veil around the planet to where now we can see all these different stars and planets, etc., if that happened, and Saturn at one point used to be the star, but now we see the sun and Saturn as a planet with rings around it, being the adversary to the sun. It was worshipped as the sun. And if you look at these ancient Sumerian tablets that show these wings, Shamash, Utu, the star of the ancients, Saturn, the rings, and the way that this thing has these wings, it makes me think of Saturn. So right now, I think it's a 50-50 chance, if not even greater, that Shamash, Utu, when they say it's the sun, they're actually speaking of the sun in ancient times, which is Saturn, which now, if you look at religious texts, especially the Christian religion or the Abrahamic religions, well, not even the Abrahamic religions, I would say just Christianity mainly, because the sun, Jesus Christ, is representation of the sun. Saturn, the adversary. Saturn, Satan meaning the adversary. And this is all connected to astrotheology, in my opinion. I look at Inanna now as Venus, and many ancient cultures would sacrifice people to Venus. Now, does that mean Venus is evil? Does that mean Lucifer is evil, if Lucifer is an actual entity, an archetype? Or does that mean people thought that because of what happened, so then they attempted to offset it by offering blood sacrifices? And these blood sacrifices are talked about way before 3,500 years ago. This goes back into the pre-Atlantis times, where the Dark Brotherhood that worked through the shadows, worked through blood, and people of high positions of power and authority. But you couldn't see them with your physical eyes. You can read about that in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Now, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are only a few hundred years old, but that information is timeless, and you can definitely look at it towards today and say, wow, this is spot on. It's cryptic. You have to know how to pull it out and read it, such as a symbol that can be right in front of you. You have to know the meanings of those symbols, and the more you become in tune with yourself, the more you can learn from those symbols. And some people learn from mystery schools, secret societies. Other people can learn by finding it within themselves in the research that they do and asking for guidance and meditation and prayer, etc. But in this specific story here, Inanna and On, this is an incredible representation of what I feel Velikovsky talked about when Venus was captured, these battles in heaven. When I first read this 1.5 to 2 years ago, I was looking at it more as, these gods that were as beings battling. Now I'm looking at it as planetary battles, and this is a way to pass it from generation to generation. And those that are actually a part of secret societies and mystery schools, the further up they go in the echelon, the more they will know about their true history. And maybe the more you know about your true history is the more it will give you an opportunity to go to the next level, to be even more aware. This life and beyond. This life, the next life, the next life, the next life. Instead of staying stuck in a rut and in this cycle where you're not evolving, you're just a recyclable battery. No, you're going to the next, where you're actually going way above and beyond where you are now. And in order to get there, you need to know more about your true history, your true origins. Otherwise, it's like you're chasing swamp gas and carrots at the end of the stick. So, Inanna and On. This is a great story. And once again, this is from Oxford University. I'll leave the links in the video description box. Here's the project members. Great job translating these tablets for you, myself, and others to read online and share the information. Inanna and On. Holy Inanna, the hero, youthful Utu, at dead of night, Iana, Inanna, the great heavens. Now, there's some stuff missing there. Now, let me tell you what Iana is. Iana is a building that was supposed to be a connection to heaven. That is Inanna's holy place, such as Enki has his place in the great Apsu. Well, Iana is her temple. It's her connection to heaven. So then you could say, and you could speculate, is it a spaceport or is it more of a spiritual spaceport? Such as the great pyramids that are aligned with Orion's belt and these shafts that are connected to different star systems that you could astral project into. Maybe they could even physically project that way as well, but I think it was more mentally. They would mentally project into other star systems and constellations and download information, and almost just like putting on a VR headset and watching your drone, you know? Well, now you're in a completely different star system. Segment B. Iana comes forth from heaven. The Lady of Heaven set her mind to capturing the great heavens. Inanna set her mind to capturing the great heavens. So let's think about that for a minute. Inanna set her mind to capturing the great heavens. That's Venus flying through, causing havoc, messing up all these planets because Jupiter ejects it. And if you read through Velikovsky's work, Velikovsky does a great job describing how these cultures talked about how the natives of pre-Columbia Mexico expected a new catastrophe every 52 years. Yeah, I went over that. There's some great information here that talks about the winged serpent, Quetzalcoatl, etc. Definitely read it. But let me go back to this. I don't want to lose track too much here. So segment B, Inanna set her mind to capturing the great heavens. Set her mind to capturing the great heavens from the youthful Utu. Now, Utu is her brother. Utu is the sun god. Utu is depicted with the wings. I think Utu is Saturn. Shamash, that sounds like Saturn too. Inanna set her mind to capturing the great heavens. So, youthful Utu, oh my, the NOS thing's finally done. Man, that feels so much better. I love this thing. Awesome. I can take these transducers off and just set it here. These are the things I had hooked up to my back. They're pretty cool. All right. So, anyway, Holy Inanna spoke to her brother, the hero, youthful Utu. I want to tell you something. Pay attention to my speech, my twin. I want to tell you something. Her brother, the hero, youthful Utu, answered Holy Inanna, my sister, I swear an oath. Man, I feel so much better. By the life of heaven, I swear by the life of the rainbow of heaven, I swear by the life of my throne, by my majesty, I will follow what my sister says to me. I will follow what Holy Inanna says to me. The maiden Inanna answered her brother, the hero, youthful Utu. My spouse has made love to me, has kissed me. I wanted for him, but he did not give it to him. I hastened with him, but majestic On would not give him Iana. The heavens are ours. The earth is ours. Iana should be captured from On. After you have taken, listen to what I say to you. Examine. For me, you must observe these instructions, the evil wind, the south wind, against me. Adagbur speaks. Adagbur, the great net, the flood, the fisherman. Holy Inanna embarked on the barge, the rope, the south wind. The south wind rose up, the evil wind rose up in the distant heavens. Sounded like wind and plasma discharge and stuff from Venus flying in. The fisherman, the reed thickets, and the tall reeds. Inanna spoke to Adagbur, youthful Utu, the barge. Now, what is Adakbur? That is a... man, I'll get there in a minute. I forgot. Stay with me. Adakbur answered holy Inanna, my lady, you cannot, your divinity, the fisherman, the south wind, my lady, if you travel on the barge and he raises the south wind, that south wind, and he raises the evil wind, that evil wind, barges and small boats will sink in the marshes. It's talking about the devastation of Venus. Whenever he approached with his great net as it came out of the flood, the swelling sea, it lashed the water and made an evil. Holy Inanna answered the fisherman, if you are to find Iana, and I am to gaze in admiration at that place you said, the narrow passage. Adakbur answered holy Inanna, through the reed thickets and the tall reeds for you, find Iana, which comes forth from heaven. Adakbur of Enlil. Through the reed thickets and the tall reeds, she gazed in admiration at Iana, which comes forth from heaven. Sulazida, On's herdsman, grasped the cosmic tethering rope in its hands. After he had brought forth from the sky, he overcame the protective deities, and kept it below the horizon. Having drunk cleansing water from the Ulaya River, Inanna stamped on the scorpion and cut off its tail. Like a lion, it bellowed in an angry roar, but its cries died down. She threw it and made it secure. Having heard its cries, poured forth the clay of creation and laid it. I wish we could get all these words, but this is still giving us the majority of the picture. The great lady of heaven delivered those words to On. Having heard those words, On slapped his thighs missing words, his voice filled with sighs of grief. What has my child done? She has become greater than me. What has Inanna done? She has become greater than me. From now on, the normal length of daylight becomes shorter. The daylight converts to nighttime. Right here is describing how that veil was ripped open. Now we have nighttime. Before it was constantly daytime. Before it was a Garden of Eden. Before you would look at the sky and it was like this beautiful purple veil. Now it's amazing. Now it's incredible. However, we have night, we have day, we have more extreme weather. We don't have nearly as much protection from these cosmic rays. That right there, folks. Boom! That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Completely describes it right there. Good job, Velikovsky. Nibiru or Venus? Venus. And then you have people that for some reason think that they need to offer sacrifices, the ancients, where they're ripping prisoners' hearts out. Oh, thank you, Venus, for not coming back. Here's the hearts of our prisoners. Like, how did that idea even come to play? What happened? From today, let's go back. She has become greater than me. What has Inanna done? She has become greater than me. From now on, the normal length of daylight becomes shorter, and daylight converts to nighttime. From today, when the day's watch is 3 units long, daylight is equal to nighttime. And now, when day began, it was indeed so. That's powerful. On, who created gods and humankind, gazed at holy Inanna and addressed the favorite wife who travels by his side, unable to describe this arrogance. On was unable to describe to Inanna this arrogance. This arrogance, my child, you did not say you were able to capture Iana. Inanna, you did not say you were able to capture Iana. Iana should be as firm as heaven. It should not be toppled. Its attraction should never be exhausted. Its name should be the settlement of the land. Mankind, all of the people, should prostrate themselves at her feet. And now under that sun, and on that day, it was indeed so. Boom! And now under that sun, the new sun. And now under that sun, and on that day, it was indeed so. Inanna became greater than Anu, the father. She had captured Eanna from On. She secured it. Now Inanna speaks of the Eanna as the house that is the place of the lady. Lucifer's a lady, the goddess who has attained her triumphant position. Inanna, who has attained her triumphant position, declared in the good place, I have captured Eanna from On. Because you are unmatched among the great princes, maiden Inanna praises. Because you are unmatched among the great princes, maiden Inanna praising you is magnificent. When you're worshiping gods, do you ever wonder what planet they're connected to? What star they're connected to? This is powerful stuff right here. This is so exciting to read this a year and a half, 2 years later, and have a completely different perspective than I did before. And if you listen to it the first time and this time, you're probably right there with me. You're probably going, wow, this is incredible. When you start to connect the dots, and when you read the stanzas that were translated via Helena Blavatsky, whether you love her or you don't, I know a lot of people have been so misinformed by her that they won't even look into those books. They'll say it's all just like copycat information that she made up. Yet if you read those stanzas, and she even said when she translated them that she was going to be called crazy, basically, and that they couldn't confirm much of what she said then. Well, they can confirm much of it now, even more than before because of technologies. And it talks about how the original beings were so superior to what we are now. What if the original beings were the pure inception, the pure form in a human form of that planet or of that star, or they came from the sun? And then you can look at many of these ancient tablets, and not the tablets, but the ancient hieroglyphics from Egypt. And you can see some of these interpretations of the red sun and the bullhorns, etc. And there's also another great story that you should read from there that describes how Inanna took the bullhorn from Anu and claimed dominion and leadership. That's a very interesting story. But what if each planet, each star can manifest into a specific being? And what if this solar system that we're in right now, we have to incarnate into these different planets and these different cycles before we can make it into the next solar system, into the next level? If you go outside of the Kuiper Belt, these trans-Neptunian objects, it's so bizarre and far out there, no pun intended, that everything changes. So what happens if we could get out to that position physically? Or is there a quarantine within this solar system? Will Saturn pick us up, swing us right back? You're not done yet. You got more work to do. And then when you're ready, do you go through the sun as a stargate? Like, the wings you back in, bang! And then when it describes the only way to the Father is through me, the Son, is the Son some type of stargate that now we have access to that we can go through? Do we need to completely rewrite the way our mind thinks about gods and deities and religion and spirituality and the planets and the stars and the heavens, the electric universe? Like, I was just charging my batteries with this thing. If we're all batteries, this thing is like, that's how you charge your battery. Turn it up. Pretty cool. Oh, yeah, and Christmas is right around the corner. So have you gotten your Christmas gifts yet? You should go to historicsilvercoins.com, use the Leak Project code, pick yourself up a Morgan coin, a Morgan silver coin from like the late 1800s or early 1900s. You can get them uncirculated, lightly circulated. If you use the code Leak Project, you get a $5 discount, and these things are awesome. So I took mine with me yesterday when I went out to the Zuggernaut in Crestone, Colorado, and I felt like it was my lucky coin. So there's neat history to these coins. The year that I got mine, Colin sent me the history of that year, and tons of symbology, or very symbolic. Some people say symbology isn't a word. Look it up. It is a word. And I'm going to use it again, symbology. So there. Now, did I blow your mind? Because my mind's blown right now. Hello, this is amazing. Be excellent to each other. Subscribe, youtube.com/clandestine time lord. Go to leakproject.com today. Become a premium member. Get access to exclusive content, over 2,000 podcasts. And I do have a few limited edition Leak Project 5G shielding tinfoil custom caps handmade from the United Kingdom left. They're signed and numbered for authenticity and the cool factor. Be the change you want to see, everybody.